Welcome to Makeup and Monarchies. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany. I am a cosmetologist, hairstylist, makeup artist, and lover of all things UK medieval history. This episode, we're going to talk about Edward III's second surviving son, Lionel. So let's just get into it. Hey, it's been a while. I'm filming again this way. I don't know if I like it or not. I really don't, but I do know, and I can't stand it. So there's that. So today we're doing Lionel of Antwerp. I'm gonna put my hair up because it's wet and it's driving me crazy. I'm gonna blow dry it at the end. So Lionel was born on November 29th of 1338 at St. Michael's Abbey in Antwerp. He was born to Philippa of Hainaut and Edward III while they were living there in what was called the Low Countries. That area of the Low Countries is now Belgium. Lionel was the second born surviving son to the couple. For the first 13 weeks of Lionel's life, he was taken care of by Giles de Monte, who was a doctor from Hainaut. We're just doing this messy bun while I get ready. Now, Lionel was a pretty unique name for a royal child. There's a few thoughts as to why this name was given. One, my skin is dry. It's in the winter. It's awful. One is a reference to the Brabant, who was the heraldic symbol of John III, Duke of Brabant. John was one of Edward's allies at the time. Another reason could be that because Edward loved the legends of King Arthur, and especially Sir Lionel. A different possibility is that the name had a glaringly obvious association with the heraldic lions that were actually leopards, but who's paying attention? That were on the English coat of arms. Lastly, another reason could be that Edward was trying to revive the Welsh name of Llewellyn. If I said it wrong, call me out. When Lionel was 3, he was included in the dynamic policy of Edward because he wanted to ensure the inheritance of his sons. Okay, before anybody says anything, I just realized that my nails look like I'm a huge fan of Wicked. That is not the case. I had them green and I did not like them, so I did a gold French tip. And now I look like I belong in the Emerald City. It's fine. We're moving on. Shortly before his 4th birthday, Lionel married the only child of... Lionel married the only child and daughter of William de Burgh, 3rd Earl of Ulster. They were married at the Tower of London, the bride having just turned 10. Her dowry included the large territories of Connaught, Munster, and Ulster, which were all located around Ireland. The couple had to wait to consummate the marriage until 1352. So he would have been 14 and she would have been 20. Lionel was recognized as the Earl of Ulster. It seems as though Daddy Edward wanted to make Lionel the largest Irish magnate during this time. The leaders and the Gaelic tribes increased in power. Also claimed to Ulster were by other members of the de Burgh family. Because of this, the governors who ruled on Lionel's behalf only had control over a small area. I'm literally just doing my current everyday makeup for this today. So Daddy Edward married off Elizabeth's widowed mother, Maud of Lancaster, to Sir Ralph de Offord. In 45, Ralph was made Justiciar of Ireland and was put to the task of restoring the county of Ulster. But by 46, he had died. Lionel didn't gain over Ireland until later in his life. At this time, the 100 Years' War was in full swing. Daddy Edward went to Flanders in July of 45, and Lionel was made regent or guardian of England from July 3rd to the 26th. He was regent again the following year, this time from July 11th of 46 until October 12th of 47. While his dad was in France on campaign. Because of his age, Lionel couldn't independently manage a kingdom. Again, he's like 8 at the time, maybe 7, 8 years old at the time. So the council did it for him. The second time around, Lionel had a seat at the expense of the king. This allowed Lionel to solve admin duties that were assigned to him. Some documents that survived show that Lionel's personal household was the Tower of Windsor, Reading, and Bristol. In 1348, the Black Plague or Black Death hit England, and Lionel lost a sister and 2 younger brothers to the illness. Come 1345, Lionel's military career began, and he was knighted. He went with his father to Calais and took part in a raid of French lands that didn't turn out well for England. While he was away, Elizabeth, his wife, gave birth to their first and only child, a daughter named Philippa, on August 16th at Eltham Palace. Baby Philippa was named after her paternal grandmother, Philippa of Hainaut, and she was the first grandchild to the king and queen. Now, baby Philippa was a potential heir for the throne of England based on rules, or I'm at a loss for the word that I really want, but based on what their or her great grandfather Edward I had put into place. But that does not happen. During the winter of 55 and 56, Lionel went on an invasion of Scotland. In the treaty that Edward Balliol, the guy Daddy Edward had tried to put on the Scottish throne, made with England, he renounced his rights to the throne of Scotland in favor of Daddy Edward. Lionel's name was on this list of witnesses. This is the whole thing, and it's ridiculous. I'm gonna jump off and do my liner. I'll be right back. In May of 59, Lionel was a part of the jousting tournament that was held in Smithfield, which was a part of London, or is a part of London. From October 59 until May of 60, he was part of Daddy Edward's military campaigns. This included an unsuccessful siege at Rheims, and further down the road, peace negotiations at Bretagne. I think that's how you say that. I swear I look all this stuff up and then I go to film and it all goes out my head. It's just like taking a test, I guess. That December, one of the knights of the Order of the Garter died. This was John Beauchamp, 1st Baron Beauchamp of Warwick. Daddy Edward held a ceremony and gave this now vacant seat in the order to Lionel. The 100 Years' War was now in its peace era in 1360. Don't mind my foundation lips right now. And this lasted until 1369. This quiet time allowed Lionel to fulfill the role in Ireland that his father had wanted for him. In July of 60, Anglo-Irish reps went to Daddy Edward, asking him for a leader to restore order in Ireland. On March 15th of 1361, Daddy Edward proclaimed to send his son Lionel to rule, and then appointed Lionel as Lord Lieutenant of Ireland on July 1st. It's said that Lionel fulfilled his responsibilities in Ireland pretty diligently. He launched a raid on Wicklow because a Gaelic army had gathered and was threatening English settlements around Dublin. Lionel was using the city as his headquarters and renovated the castle. When the O'Byrons invaded, Lionel lost roughly 100 mercenaries and was happy that he could rely on the help of the Irish lords. Lionel was created Duke of Clarence by his father on November 13th of 62. The name of his title came from the city, castle, and honor of Clare. This was part of Elizabeth's dowry when the couple married. From this, Lionel was the first Irish peer, but at the same time, he couldn't manage his wife's estates in England, so his salary was increased. Come December 10th of 1363, Elizabeth became ill and died in Dublin. Her body was sent back to England, and she was buried at Brewis Yard Abbey in Suffolk. Lionel left Ireland and appointed James Butler as Lord Lieutenant of Ireland on April 22nd of 1364. He returned to England to speak with Daddy Edward and the Royal Council. He gained the Lord Lieutenant title again on September 24th and went back to Ireland in December. He campaigned through Cork to Drogheda. He tried to get control of the small part of the east coast of Ulster. This highlighter is by Vive, but I love it. But way too much comes out and I just end up having to. So he attempts to rule Ireland through the English, but a big conflict between the English by birth and the English by blood started. Daddy Edward tried to reconcile both sides to unite against the native Irish. I swear to God, has nobody learned not to fuck with the Irish yet? Can we just leave them be? Mind your P's and Q's, leave them be. So Lionel left Ireland again in 65 and put Thomas de la Dale in his place. Then he came back in February of 66. He summoned a parliament in Kilkenny. It was this parliament that adopted the statutes of Kilkenny. This was a series of 35 acts enacted and aimed to curb the decline of the Hiberno-Norman lordship of Ireland. This became Lionel's most important legacy for the Irish government. Its purpose was to prevent the process of cultural and political degeneration between Irish-born Englishmen. Specifically, the king's subjects weren't allowed to use the Irish language, marrying Irish women, and observing Irish laws. Also, the distinction between English by birth and English by blood was eliminated as far as possible. This codification in 1366 was in force in Ireland until the beginning of the 1600s. I'm gonna get my mascara on. I will be back. So Daddy Edward replaced Lionel as Lord Lieutenant with John Fitzgerald on November 7th of 1366. Supposedly he was tired of his thankless job. Lionel left and vowed to never return. Upon his return to England, Daddy Edward made a new role for Lionel. Okay, I am going to blow dry my hair. I'll be right back. I'm back. I had to do my roots this morning, so blow dry my hair. I don't know what that scratch is. So Daddy Edward replaced Lionel. We knew that. So because Lionel was a widower now, that is not eyeliner, the king sent him on a diplomatic mission to Italy, July 30th of 66. Its purpose was to talk about a possible marriage between Violante Visconti, daughter of Galizio II Visconti, Lord of Milan, with either Lionel's younger brother, Edmund, Duke of Langley. Lionel became the preferred man for the marriage. Violante's paternal uncle, Bernabo Visconti, initiated the marriage and was ready to pay a good amount for an alliance with the Plantagenets. My eye is pouring right now. The marriage contract was signed at the Palace of Westminster in May of 67. So I'm gonna line that and then, oh shit. I'm gonna go through and just buff that line out a little bit. I just want a better brush. I'm gonna do a little bit more liner. This doesn't need to be perfect, but on the inside it doesn't. And then I'm gonna take a brush and just blend that out. Next, I've resorted back to 2016 me, and I have fallen back in love with the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid lipsticks. I'm here for it. I had 20 of them prior to this, but I love these. Like, this is what, for me, this is what she kills it with. I love her lips. I love her lip stuff. So Lionel sailed for Italy in February of 1468. He had already contracted his 13-year-old daughter, Philippa, to Roger Mortimer, who was 16 at the time. I love these lips. They're like so soft and comfy too to wear. So he sailed with the retinue of 457 people that took almost 1,300 horses with them. Lionel and Violante were married on either May 28th or June 5th in front of Cathedral of Santa Maria Maggiore, I think, spelling. The following months were continued celebrations, feasts, and tournaments. Violante's dowry was 2 million golden florins, and the fiefdoms of Alba, not in Scotland, in Italy, Mondovì, Cuneo, if you thought my French was bad, the Italian's even worse, Cherasco, and Demote. It's reported the success of Edward III's marriage policy believed that Galeazzo II Visconti transferred half of his lands to Lionel. Come October of 1368, Lionel became ill with an unknown illness. He didn't get any better. Lionel died on October 17th in Alba, Piedmont, Italy. The rumor mill started churning with stories that he was poisoned by his father-in-law, but this was never proven. At first, he was buried in Pavia, but due to his will that was written 2 weeks before his death, he said he wanted to be buried in Clare Priory. So his body was transported back to England and he was reburied in the priory. So I have no fun facts for Lionel. Sorry. I was disappointed too. That's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. We're in the middle of Edward III and all his children. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to my channel. If you are on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Blue Sky, any of that stuff, I'm all there as well under the same name. If you enjoy this content and you'd like to help me further this thing I'm doing, you could go over to buymeacoffee.com/makeup and monarchies and donate to my Starbucks addiction. It would be very appreciated. So that's it for this episode, guys. Next week, we're going to talk about Lionel and Edward, the Black Prince's sisters, Joan and Isabella. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.